Hey, and what is up, movie viewers? Dena Mo Views and Reviews here, asking what you watching. Well, today I am watching I Care a Lot. Now, this movie stars Rosamund Pike, Elsa Gonzalez, Peter Dinklage, Diane Weiss, Chris Messina, Alicia Witt, and Nicholas Logan. It is written and directed by Jay Blakeson. It is produced by Michael Heimler, Teddy Schwartzman, Ben Stillman, Jay Blakeson, Tara Morris, Sasha Guttenstein, and Andrea Agyemang. Now, I have to say, this movie is said to be inspired by stories the writer and director Jay Blakeson read about in regards to predatory guardians taking advantage of unrepresented, overlooked, and sometimes abandoned senior citizens or elderly victims. They are not only robbed of what wealth they have accumulated, but also their quality of life in their last days. Now, in this movie, Marla Grayson is the owner of a sham company. The company is merely a criminal enterprise. It is set up only to scam and exploit elderly citizens who may be on the brink of dementia, or those that she and her group of criminals deem a good candidate to take over their guardianship so that they may attain the wealth that they have accumulated. Now, Marla Grayson is not alone, once again, in her criminal endeavors. Now, her enterprise that seeks to steal the wealth of these adults as well as their freedom in their last days. She is in cahoots with the victim's doctor, the nursing home, her lesbian lover whose name is Fran, and even the court system that was designed to protect individuals from creatures like this. The system simply failed to protect the most vulnerable from these kind of greedy predators that manage to manipulate and use their being a part of the system to fatten their own voracious, greedy appetites, their pockets. So this is something that happens today, and many times people say, well, it's just a movie. It's not just a movie, because once you watch it, it becomes familiar, and you hear about this often in the media, or some family has experienced it perhaps. But they all aided in her scheme to cage these people up while she raided them of everything they owned in an effort to make herself rich and wealthy. Now, here's how it works. The doctor selects one of his patients, an elderly patient that he or she has been seeing for a while. So what they do, they decide who will be a contender for them to take over their guardianship. So they are seeking individuals who have no known relatives in their lives to take care of them. The candidate that would be good is one that has a solid financing. It's concrete finances. A senior that haven't quite reached the state where they are too sickly or feeble. And then they introduce the likelihood of them having dementia. This is what they present when they go to court. And they have the judge sign a court order deeming them, the elderly citizen, unable to care for him or herself and in need of legal representation, a legal guardian to make those necessary decisions for them in regards to their life and on their behalf. Once she is appointed their legal guardian, she rushes them away to a nursing home. And then she begins the business of selling off their home, their cars, their jewelry, and taking possession of all of their wealth, while they sit alone, lonely, and drugged up many times in a crooked nursing home. They have no one to really advocate for them. So it makes it very easy for people like Marla, even in real life, to be designated the guardian over these individuals. Now, by becoming the legal guardian over these people, they are responsible for their care and what they own, and they use it and try to say that they have acquired the properties or they sell it so that they can pay for their health care within these nursing homes. So Marla and her team of criminals have chosen in this movie Jennifer Peterson to be one of their possible candidates because she has no children, and they have watched and observed her actions and have delved into her finances and found her to be quite wealthy. Jennifer Peterson is played by Diane Weiss, and as their next target, she appears to be a normal older lady. She's very active in her right mind. She has no known living relatives that they are aware of, no children, at least they think she doesn't, that she doesn't have a husband, and most of all, she is wealthy and she is living her best life. Now Marla shows up to her home. She rings the doorbell and presents her with documentation. She's got this smiling face and she's looking so trusting in her eyes, and she lets her know, I'm your new legal guardian. And she's like, I don't need a legal guardian, but I am. She's shocked and she's resistant at first, but Marlon threatens her because she has also brought with her an officer, a deputy that is willing to take Jennifer into custody if she tries not to adhere to what she is saying. They're gonna take her into custody and possibly lock her up in an insanity hospital. So she boldly whisked Jennifer away to a nursing facility as she and her lesbian partner, Fran, begin the process of selling off her property. And they strip her of all of her finances, including millions of dollars in diamonds that she finds locked in a safe box at a bank. Now, Marla is the worst kind of predator, in my opinion, because she has a system that backs her in the imprisoning, the theft, and destroying the lives of those unsuspecting people. But what she doesn't realize is that Jennifer Peterson is not the typical elderly senior citizen that she is used to taking advantage of. She is the mother of an volatile Russian mobster. A mobster that loves his mom, and even though he attempts to buy her off, he sends someone to represent him. He hires a lawyer to use the legal system to try and free his mother, and even to attempt to buy off her so that she can have her mother freed from the system. Now, it doesn't work because it's a nonchalant legal system. And before he resorts to more barbaric measures, he's trying to exhaust all of the reasonable things that he can to get his mother out of the clutches of Marla and the state. But this woman, Marla, believes that playing fair is a joke, and she said it was invented by rich people to keep the rest of us poor. She is unfazed by his attempt to even dispatch her. This Marla character then unrealistically seems to morph or evolve into this superhero villain like character, and this is why I gave this movie a 2-star out of 5. At that point I was like, no, this is just too much. No, you're supposed to be a mobster. Surely you can have more firepower than that. I just didn't buy it. Up until that point I was on board with it, but once she all of a sudden just jumps up and she's able to survive some extraordinary circumstances and do some of the most extraordinary things, I'm like, nah, you just made it unrealistic. But I kind of felt like the so-called mobster, he didn't have much power at all for her to accomplish what she did based on all of this power and money that he has. But watching this movie, it makes you feel some kind of way, and it exposes how the system can be purposely rigged against certain individuals, and how judges, lawyers, and even certain individuals can use their familiarity with them to taint the legal process and engineer one that does more harm than it does good for the parties involved. Now, in this case, it prevented relatives or even legal teams from being taken serious or given the leeway to question the actions of this person that was wrongfully granted legal guardianship over this individual. She did not have a right to disturb this woman's peace in her life. She really turned it upside down, and all of it was done purposely because of greed. The judge was a part of the manipulation by simply signing the court orders and not assigning individuals to check out what was presented to him, simply because he deemed her a bit of a saint. He looked at her in that manner, even though she was a serpent. And the reason why he did it is because he felt a sense of familiarity with this scam artist. Now, Marlon Grayson represents the very embodiment of unchecked greed and privilege that is often upheld within our legal system today. Even today, it was simply about money for her. She was greedy. And they tried to put a little bit of this feminism stuff into it to try to justify her actions, I think. But it didn't hit for me. She was such an evil person. Everything for her was transactional, that even when the patient would die and she'd have pictures of them plastered all over the wall, her victims that she was getting money from, she would just simply take that picture from the wall, ball it up, and put it in the trash, feeling nothing at all, and simply trying to replace them so she could keep her money coming in. And I have to admit, this movie can make one feel infuriated at the failure to protect the lives of and the resources of these senior citizens, because it happens in real life, and that's probably why I felt the way I did. And though thought of forcing people to live out their final days confined, drugged, and in a perpetual state of loneliness, disorientation, and the ability to do nothing to change your existence, nothing to change your circumstances, and having no one to fight or advocate for you. This is another movie that I felt did not deliver real justice to this devilish, despicable character, or even her partners in crime. I mean, it takes you on an emotional roller coaster if you got people that you love that may get caught up in such a web. Now, I felt like that this character got away with harming and stealing the last moments of life from those individuals that were involved. She and all of her people involved in this scheme, this process, I felt they should have been punished, and they should have been punished properly. Now, I Care a Lot is rated R, and if you would like to check out I Care a Lot, you most certainly can, because it is currently streaming on Prime Video. Be sure to subscribe and leave me a comment on this movie. This has been Dena Views and Reviews. Join me for my next review and our recommendation, and I want you to remember, it's my view. Now, what you watching?